Coming up next on City Spotlight, it's all things Shelbyville. We will sit down with the Mayor of Shelbyville, Jeff Johnson, Mark Shanks of the Chautauqua Auditorium Preservation Committee, Superintendent of Schools, Denise Bence, and Shelbyville High School Principal, Rich Stuart. We will discuss Shelbyville's Festival of Lights, future plans for the Chautauqua Auditorium, and the latest with what's going on with the Shelbyville Schools. City Spotlight begins now. City Spotlight is supported by Consolidated Communications. CCI is honored to salute the cities and their leaders in the area, as well as providing TV, internet, and phone service to local homes and businesses. We live where we work and are proud to support the communities we serve. More information available at consolidated.com. Thank you to all of you for joining us for another edition of City Spotlight. Today we focus on Shelbyville. And with us today is the Mayor of Shelbyville, Jeff Johnson.
Hi, good to be back.
And Mark Shanks is joining us for the first time. Mark is with the Chautauqua Auditorium Preservation Committee. I got it right on the first try.
Good job.
Excellent. Gentlemen, thank you for making the time to be here today.
Thank you for having us.
And Jeff, we've had you on. This is your third time this year, and we're taping this in late October. But as we sit here and talk, what are some of the highlights from this year, festivals or things that were accomplished in Shelbyville in 2015?
2015's been a good year in the city of Shelbyville. We've ended up with some of the festivals and the tourism, the lake. Everything was fantastic. The visitation numbers were great at the lake. The 4th of July was a wonderful time, and we had a lot of people in town. We had Scarecrow Days that was just about a month or so ago. And in Scarecrow Days, the streets were lined with vendors and with a lot of people visiting our community, and everybody enjoyed it. And so, you know, the organizers for both of those did a fantastic job.
And the Scarecrow Days is a tradition in Shelbyville. It happens on Columbus Day weekend. Yeah,
it sure does. And it's something that's been going on for a long time and been building every year. And it's something that we're looking forward to continuing on next year, that Scarecrow Days will continue on, and then next year too with the Balloon Fest. So it's an exciting time in Shelbyville.
All right, and as we wrap up here, people are seeing this here at the beginning of December. Already going on as a light festival. If you could tell us a little bit about that if they haven't been to it.
The Light Festival has been in Shelbyville for a long time. It originally started up by Eagle Creek Resort, and now it's in the park. And we have over 500 displays. They estimate, you know, hundreds of thousands, almost 1 million lights out there. And it's at Forest Park on the north end of town. It runs 5:30 to 9 on most of the week, and then on Fridays and Saturdays it's 5:30 to 10. But there's really out at the Light Festival, we don't charge, but we do ask for donations at the end, because everything is paid for by donations from people going through and the sponsors of the businesses in town. And then most of the work is done by volunteers. Bill Bly and his group does a great job.
Excellent. All right, before we get to the comments from Mark on the Chautauqua Auditorium, some things going on that you might want to remind the folks at home that are going to be going on as the calendar turns to 2016, any work, cityscape, streetscape, work being done to continue to beautify Shelbyville?
Yeah, it's amazing whenever you stop and think that 2016 is almost here and time gets away, but we have so many things. Somebody had mentioned to me the other day, they said that we probably don't realize how much change Shelbyville is going to see over the next few years. But yeah, we're going to be working on the streetscape. We have 3 different grants that we're going to be making changes in the downtown area to help beautify the downtown area. Part of it will include the bike path and making changes on it. And then, you know, a lot of our businesses are expanding, so we're also going to have quite a bit of change on streets and things to help accommodate that expansion. So next year is going to be a lot of construction going on and a lot of fun things happening, and we're looking forward to it. It's an exciting time for Shelbyville.
And another thing that is happening, we're talking with Mark Shanks with the Preservation Committee at the Chautauqua. And Mark, we've talked about the Chautauqua on the previous 2 episodes of City Spotlight. I've heard the comments from Jeff and from Freddie Fry from Shelby County Tourism. Why is the Chautauqua Auditorium an important part of Shelbyville?
Well, the Chautauqua Auditorium is the icon and the centerpiece for our community in a lot of ways. It was built in 1903. It's an engineering marvel and one-of-a-kind structure. When I moved to Shelbyville 14 years ago, it was one of the first things that made an impression on me. I said, wow, what is that big building and what do they use it for? And Unfortunately, for the last several years, with tight budgets and things, some of the maintenance and stuff wasn't done. The building started to get in bad condition, and a group of us just didn't want to see that building go away. And it looked like there for a while that maybe the wrecking ball was on the horizon for the Chautauqua building, but we just couldn't let that happen. And so our community's pulled together. We've done a lot of things to save the building right now. The wrecking ball's out of the picture now, so now we're looking at how we can continue to enhance and improve the building going forward.
I know a lot of work has been done on the inside and outside. Is there anything you can tell us about some of that work that's been done? What things have been updated, fixed this past year?
Well, this year a lot of things have happened. We had an engineering study, and then we were able to do the engineering work to shore up the structure. We had some of the timbers in the ceiling were giving us some problems, and we had to address those to make the building safe and usable. And we've done that now. The engineers signed off the building is safe and usable, so we were able to start programming things back into the building. There's still a lot to be done. We were able to get the windows replaced in the upper clear story, so now the light can not only get into the building, but at night when the lights are on, you can see the beautiful glow of the lights throughout the park. So that was a big accomplishment for us. We've done some painting on the structure. In the spring of next year, we're going to be finishing painting the outside of the structure, we hope. And still a lot to do, but a lot's been accomplished, and it's coming back to life.
Excellent. You answered my next question, what's on the horizon, so plenty more to be done. What are some of the events that were held at the Chautauqua this past year, and what were people's receptions to it in Shelbyville and people that were just visiting?
Well, we've been able to program a lot of things back into the building. We've had some vendor fairs the fourth Saturday of each month throughout the summer, and just ended this October. A lot of vendors in the building, and people were able to come out. The building's open and usable. That's one of the things we heard from people. If we're going to save the building, we've got to use it. And so that's what we've been trying to do, is program a lot of things in there. We had an Air Force band perform in there this summer that was very well attended. We've had lots of activities and festivals in the building and around the building through the summer. As this is taping, we're getting ready to have our Halloween ball, and we're going to have Captain Rat and the Blind Rivets performing there, so we anticipate a big crowd for that there.
And when I talked to Freddie Fry from Shelby County Tourism a few months back, she talked about what kind of things can be held there in the future, and she used the term B-level entertainment. What would that be, and is that something that you guys are really targeting for the future?
Right. Well, I don't know if I'd call it B-level entertainment, but we're hoping to bring in some bigger name acts and things that will draw a regional draw instead of just the local community. Right. The building lends itself to both. You know, we can have local events for the community, things put on by the kids from the schools and local talent, but we also want to try to reach to a higher level and get some acts in there that are going to draw large crowds from the area. And the building's also got a lot of uses for things like wedding receptions, weddings. We've actually had a lot of interest in that, and there have been a few weddings there. And with our newly improved sunken gardens, lends itself very well. The two go right together. They're right next to each other. So.
And Jeff, I've asked you obviously on the last two times you've been here to talk about the Chautauqua, the things that are being done there to keep this grand old structure that's been a part of Shelbyville for so long. You obviously have to be pleased where things are going. There's obviously no wrecking ball, as Mark has said.
Right. Yeah, we're very pleased, and Mark and the entire group has done a fantastic job. It's a building that's so unique and one that is such a part of Shelbyville that we have to save it, and the opportunities it's going to provide for the entertainment to bring people into town. Yeah, it is. It's been wonderful.
And as we wrap up here with you guys on this portion of the segment on Shelbyville here on City Spotlight, we're going to talk about Shelbyville Schools here in the next segment. Jeff, you're from Shelbyville, and the work that's being done in the Shelbyville School District, Denise, Bence, and the rest of her staff and the teachers. Talk a little bit about what you like about what's going on there.
They're doing a great job, and I'm a product of the Shelbyville Schools. I'm proud of it. I'm proud of what they've been doing. And it's all part of the quality of life. It's so important to have good schools, and we're so fortunate. You know, the entire staff out there does a wonderful job, and it's truly an asset to the city of Shelbyville, and it helps make it easier to attract new visitors and new residents to the city.
Excellent. And Mark, I'll give you the final word here on this segment. Something you're looking forward to. Obviously, you're working with the Chautauqua, but something you're looking forward to here coming up in 2016.
Well, I'm excited about the things that are happening with the streetscape improvements in Shelbyville and with the school district. I'm thrilled with our school district. They do a great job. For a small town, they do a lot with a little. And the schools are the heart of every community. And as a business person, I understand that for my business to grow and prosper, we've got to have a strong core in our community. And if the schools are doing good and the mayor and his team are doing great things with the improvements downtown, I think we have got a very bright future in Shelbyville.
The future does look bright for Shelbyville as we move into 2016. Happy New Year, I guess I can wish you guys here as this show is airing here in December. So thank you for your time, Jeff Johnson, the mayor of Shelbyville, Mark Shanks with the Chautauqua Auditorium Preservation Committee. Gentlemen, it's been a pleasure.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
And as we continue on here on City Spotlight, we'll talk more about Shelbyville Schools here in a bit. But first, let's take a look at some of the upcoming activities going on in Shelbyville. And we're back on City Spotlight talking about Shelbyville today. And we're back now to talk about Shelbyville Schools. And with me is the Superintendent of Shelbyville Schools, Denise Bence, and Rich Stuart, the Principal at Shelbyville High School. Thank you guys for taking the time to be here.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. And both your first visits to City Spotlight, if you guys could tell me a little bit about yourselves. Denise, if you go first, please.
Like you said, my name is Denise Bence. This is my 6th year as the superintendent in Shelbyville. Actually been in the district about 20 years. I started out as a school psychologist and then elementary principal for about 10 years. So I know the district well. I've been there a while, and it's a great place.
Excellent. Thank you for being here. Richard, the principal at Shelbyville High School. Tell us a little bit about yourself, please.
Well, I'm entering my 14th year in education. This is my 4th year in Shelbyville. I grew up in Wequa, so I'm very familiar with Shelbyville, even though I didn't grow up there.
Right.
And it's been a great experience, a great community.
Excellent. Well, again, thank you guys for being here. And Denise, I think the appropriate place to start is if you guys could tell us a little bit about your schools, the structures, how old they are, and any recent work that's been done either this year or in recent years.
Sure. Well, when I took over as superintendent, that was one of our priorities, is to look at our facilities and what upgrades they needed. All of our district buildings are fairly old. So we have an elementary building that was that was built in the 1920s, and our middle school and high school was built in the 1950s and 60s. And so after that many years, it's time to do some upgrading. And over the past 6 years, we've done a $2.1 million upgrade to our middle school, which we did new windows, heating and air. And then we just completed at the beginning of this school year a $3.1 million upgrade to our high school, where we renovated it with new heating and air and windows. And then at our elementary building, we also air conditioned it over the summer. We were lucky enough to get a TIF grant from our city, and so that helped us do that. So overall, our facilities are in good shape. We have a long-term goal of moving all of our buildings all of our students onto one campus. Right now, our middle school and high school is on one campus. Our elementary school is more in a downtown location. So long-term, we'd love to have everyone on the same campus.
And those plans, do you have is there plans in the works as to achieving that goal of everybody on one campus?
Well, we'd love to get a state construction grant, and we've been on that list since probably the last 20 years. So we're kind of waiting for the state to fund some money into that construction grant. And so if that happens, we've kind of have tentative plans, then we can move forward.
And it is a challenging time in the state of Illinois to accomplish just about anything with involving money and a school district for any improvements to happen, to whether you have a newer building or an older building. How has the lack of a state budget affected a school district such as Shelbyville's?
Well, we are lucky. School districts are lucky because that was one of the first things that the state did, was make sure that we were getting state aid. So we have been getting some of our payments, which helps. But in the long term, over the last 5 or 6 years, our state aid has remained pretty flat as our expenses go up every year. So trying to maintain a balanced budget when your revenue is flat and your expenses are going up, it's a tough time to be, a district superintendent, a district board, trying to just maintain things. And over the last 6 years, we've actually cut 15 positions just to try to maintain that balanced budget, cut supply lines, cut really any unnecessary spending. It's just been a real challenge.
And Rich, if I could ask a follow-up for you, improvements done to the building that you're at, how has it helped where you work and for the students and staff that attend the building?
Well, it might sound like something simple, and I know all of us that grew up without air conditioning think, well, they don't really need air conditioning. I didn't have it when I was in there. But what you might have forgotten over the years is it could be really miserable, and that really limits the amount of focus adults or students can have at any one time. So by increasing basically the amount of time people can focus, we are packing in a lot more learning. And it was a great start to the school year, a cool start to the year for us. And you could really tell the difference when students were leaving at the end of the day and just through the course of the day that, a lot more productive work going on than maybe in prior years due to heat.
All right, so the improvements are already helping and paying off. Excellent. All right, let's talk a little bit about the community support with what's going on with the Shelbyville Schools and some highlights at the different schools. Which school do you want to start at, Denise?
Well, I think just our community in general, I can't tell you how supportive they are of our district. One of the reasons why we were able to do that high school project was 2 years ago, we were able to pass a countywide sales tax, which gave us sales tax money to fund the $3.1 million. So that was a huge support to our district. But even in individual buildings, we have at our elementary building, we constantly have parents there who come in and in any way, provide supplies or just help in classrooms. At our middle school, we have a mentoring program, and we have right now about 12 community members who come in every week and mentor our students. Anytime we have something that needs to be done, we have a booster club that's run by parents. Recently, our baseball field was looking a little shabby, and parents volunteered to come in and really revamp it all with donations. When our scoreboard needed repainting at the high school, parents got together on the weekend and repainted it. We have a great active PTO who they provide grants for our teachers, so when teachers want to do special projects, they get money from the PTO to be able to do those things. And so there's a lot of things, especially extracurricular things that happen in Shelbyville that wouldn't without all that community support.
Okay. Let's talk about some of the activities, things that students are involved in, and some of the things you mentioned at the high school that are going on. No Job Left Behind. If you could tell me a little bit about what that's going on there, and then Rich can follow up with a comment on that.
Right, well, that was something that started out of the Chamber of Commerce in Sullivan, out of Moultrie County. Okay. And they were trying to connect business leaders with schools, and right now, especially in the area of manufacturing, their manufacturers are having a hard time finding qualified, skilled workers, and what better way to match up our kids with employers in the area so that we can help kids stay in our community and have great jobs. And so they kind of started that in Moultrie County, and Rich started going. We heard about it. We thought it would be a great thing to bring to Shelby County, and so we kind of tagged onto their initiative. And since then, we've, at our high school, done some things kind of similar to what Moultrie County and Sullivan has done.
Okay. And Rich, great opportunities for students to learn about career paths and the local businesses.
Oh, yeah. Sometimes it's popular to be negative and complain about what we don't have or what we can't do. Working with No Job Left Behind and with the business partners in the local community, it's not that. It's, hey, how can we help each other make things better for the community and for the students? And so it's been amazing to me to think how successful we've been. Looking at, we've partnered with GSI, ag-related industry. They're actually going to pay some of our students in an internship, engineering and welding. IHI is a local Shelbyville company that produces turbochargers and superchargers. And they're also going to allow a student to intern there. It's just really exciting. You know, you think about a traditional format where kids graduate and they either go right to the workplace, maybe it's the armed forces, a tech school, or a four-year university. Well, why wait till they've graduated from high school to have an experience that might help them decide, you know what, I don't want to go down this road. And if they're helping the local community and business at the same time, it's a win-win for everybody. So we're really excited, and you know, I'm personally very thankful to the community and all the support they're showing us.
Excellent, great opportunity for them there. And another opportunity that's been going on there, they have a broadcasting program. So I'm interested to hear what's going on there. We're obviously taping here at in a TV studio, but what kind of broadcasting video opportunities do kids have at Shelbyville High School?
Right, so we've always had a broadcasting class, but just over the last 2 years, 3 years, we've really tried to improve that. They now have a green room that they can tape in, and we've actually moved the class into a bigger classroom so they have more room for taping and those kinds of things. So they do a weekly newscast for our schools. We would like to in the future have them help us highlight our different programs so that we could post those on our website or Facebook pages. So it is really a neat opportunity for kids.
And Rich, I mean, we were talking before we started taping here, and
Yeah.
It's 2015. There's visual, there's media, video everywhere. This is another great opportunity for the kids to try something that's really out there.
Oh yeah, it's been great. Ms. Bence has been very supportive in terms of upgrading from antiquated equipment to the digital age. You talk about the year; it's time to get in that age.
Yes.
So it's really been good. Kids in the past, maybe it's been a little bit focused on a lot of fun,
Right.
and maybe not quite all the technical skills, but we've had some changes here recently, and looking at really getting into the community and highlighting all the great benefits of the community. And we're really excited about the opportunities that we have now.
As our time continues to fly by here, are there any other programs or highlights, whether it be at the high school or any of the other schools, that you'd like to bring up before we conclude here?
Well, I think that, you know, even though we're a very small school on the scheme of things,
Right.
we offer a lot of opportunities for our kids. And even with a limited budget, we tried in all the cuts that we've made to make sure that all of our programs stay intact. And I'm really proud of all the opportunities, both extracurricular and curricular, that we can offer kids. Even though we are a small community, it's pretty amazing the variety of classes that our high school kids can take, the variety of extracurricular activities that our kids, you know, from junior high to high school can get involved in. So that's our goal, is to maintain lots of opportunities for kids so that they kind of, like Rich said, have an idea what they want to do, and when they leave us, you know, what their future holds for them.
All right, I'll ask my final question here. And you guys both work and live in Shelbyville. To live, to raise a family, and more importantly for the students, people to send their kids to Shelbyville schools. Why is Shelbyville a great place to live? I'll let Rich go first.
All right. I have 2 young children, both. And when I think about the opportunities that Shelbyville gives them, the respect, the fun, the safety, all these different things, it's just really a special and honestly wonderful place. And in terms of the high school or education, we might be small, but we're competing to be the best high school or educational institution in the state as far as I'm concerned. So that's, kids graduate easily, easily graduate from high school with their first year of college credits taken care of. We also have opportunities for kids that want to get certificates in industry-specific things. So I mean, really focusing on the entire spectrum and the whole child, whether it's social, emotional, or academics.
I think the bottom line is our staff cares about kids. And you can see that on a daily basis. There's never a day that goes by that there isn't some story about a teacher, an aide, a bus driver, a cafeteria worker going above and beyond to help our kids be successful.
Well, a lot of great information from you guys today. A great show on Shelbyville here. Thank you for your time sharing some information on Shelbyville Schools. Denise Bence, the superintendent of Shelbyville Schools, and Rich Stuart, the principal at Shelbyville High School. Thank you guys for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And that'll do it for this latest edition of City Spotlight. We thank all of you for watching, and we'll see you next time. City Spotlight is on YouTube. Past episodes can be viewed on East Central Illinois towns that have been featured on City Spotlight. Just search on YouTube City Spotlight with the show number and the name of the town. Listed on your screen are the recent episodes of City Spotlight. City Spotlight is supported by Consolidated Communications. CCI is honored to salute the cities and their leaders in the area, as well as providing TV, internet, and phone service to local homes and businesses. We live where we work and are proud to support the communities we serve. More information available at consolidated.com.